All right, guys, welcome back to the weekly recap. This week we've got Hunter and Zach. Jacob was unable to make it this week,
Yeah, it's
and
been a while since I've been on.
it
It's
has.
been a while.
It's been a set. We could almost, if we get a couple things done pretty quick, we could probably try to talk about some of your thoughts on major things that's happened to you just overall in season two,
Uh,
or chapter two. So, yeah, basically what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and jump into a recap of what happened this most recent episode, which was episode 12 of our second chapter. And then we're going to get into a couple little conversations. Tonight, I mean, we could have had half of the group on to have these questions because some shit happened with Brady and his wife. Some shit happened with Hunter playing Anzu in this hallucination. And then, I mean, we just had stuff happen, right? So, we'll go ahead and jump into this. What happened in episode 12 was we were all at the fight where Lochnar finally was coming into possibly being able to train with Ferrum, who's this guy that we've kind of been searching for a long time for him. And we're finally here, and the guy's like, hey, come out here and fight me. So Ferrum's out in the middle with Lochnar. Lochnar doesn't want to fight because he's like, this is a waste of time. I've spent all this time searching for you. I just want to like get better, not sit here and fight you again and get my ass beat. Long story short, he did get his ass beat. He was doing pretty well, or so we all thought, until Ferrum actually really like showed off that he was.
I knew he was gonna KO his
Yeah,
ass.
I was like, Jacob's holding back so much, and then yeah, just one monk move just slapped him straight on the ground, and
Because I believe last time Ferrum was a level 17 monk.
yeah, and he's
I think
probably
that's
a
what
level
Jacob said.
17 or 18 now as well. So yeah, Jacob has him at a very high level, which is something we've seen a lot in chapter 2. We've seen a lot higher level of characters that we are now coming across. Probably rightly so, honestly. Chapter 1 was a little easy for us, so might as well throw
It's
it in
also
our
very
faces.
rare that Jacob tells us, gives us a figure of how strong they are. I think
Yeah,
it was Ferrum. He told us that Ferrum was 15. Well, no, 17. We know that Richter's around 15.
yeah. But for the
I don't know
most
about the
part,
dragon.
I think there's actually a spell that you can actually tell how high level certain things are, but like it's kind of useless because sometimes like a DM doesn't put a level on a character they create. So
You probably got to touch him or something. That
yeah,
isn't gonna happen since they're gonna kill you.
basically. So he loses that fight, and after that, we're gonna kind of see where that takes Lochnar in the future. In possibly training either with Ferrum or with someone else. But we go back, Broder, the guy that Thea kind of has a thing with, not really because he's a fucking meathead and doesn't understand that she's trying to flirt with him.
I love it.
He ends up carrying Lochnar back to the tavern we're at and takes him up the stairs. Thea tried to make some moves, and when that didn't work, Anzu tried to help make some moves for his niece.
A little bit.
And then it still didn't work because Broder's fucking straight through. So he ends up leaving. Abby's like, I'll just try it again some other time. But we end up going back downstairs. We start having some drinks. And for whatever the hell reason, we're just like, let's rage. Because let's just drink a ton. This is probably going to be one of our last times in the current area that we've been in chapter 2. Which has been kind of like the island, bunch of shit happening, just kind of fucking around a little bit, and now we're getting.
I think last time we partied, I like enlarged a baby,
Yep,
and that was a while
that was a
ago.
long time ago. Yeah, it's been a sec because I mean, we're gonna get back into some more serious stuff coming up, so we won't be able to. I mean, like I definitely need to chill out on trying on like these comedic things because I think it's going away from my character a little bit. But yeah, we had basically we started drinking a ton, popping open some random drinks that we all have, buying some drinks, and then as a joke I threw. I mean, it wasn't a joke. I just was like, let's fucking use one of these mushrooms because I used to forage a lot of mushrooms when we were traveling through forests and stuff, which we haven't done for a while. So I used one of my pink mushrooms that is a hallucinogen, and popped that into each person's shot. It didn't affect all of us, but it affected Anzu, and that was that ended up turning into basically what the hallucination you have is that you see the future, quote unquote. You don't actually see the future; you just believe you're seeing a future that comes into your mind. So Anzu's now living a future where all of us are dead. Like Locknar's
More like an alternate universe, huh?
yeah, maybe an alternate universe or an alternate universe future where all of us are dead, like sacrificed on the ground, whatever the hell. Anzu thinks he's being attacked by demons, so he's like running around the tavern, hiding under the tables, yelling at people, like, what the fuck is going on? And then he starts using some of his magic, which we're in the middle of Vasselheim where arcane magic is not allowed. So we were like, oh shit, we gotta stop this. So luckily, I think Thea was able to paralyze you for a minute. The guards came in. I rolled a natural 20 on deceiving them. Like, oh, this is just a performance. And then we got him upstairs and used I think I had to use... No, I used Lesser Restoration and snapped him out of that. I don't regret using it, though. It was really funny. I think it was so cool. But Thea also had it affect her, but then it didn't because she has divine senses and stuff. So we end up passing out, going to sleep. Next morning, Rebecca ends up coming in the tavern, and we have a conversation with her, basically telling her all the shit that's happened in our second chapter. For her, it would be the past couple weeks that we haven't really communicated much with her. And so that would be finding the dragon child, Braun getting pretty much whatever is happening with him cursed by one of the 5 who are watching us. The ship where we found the soul stone of Demogorgon, who is one of the demon lords of the abyss. The Grazit, who's now after us for that soul stone.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of all... We just unloaded everything, honestly. We told her all this stuff. We're like, this is crazy. And then she started walking us to the Platinum Dragon Temple, and that's kind of where we are now. That's where we left off. So, Zach, what do you want to start us off with talking points?
Let's start with Anzu's hallucination, and I kind of want Hunter. I kind of want your take on it.
Yeah, so that was kind of tough for me because you have to be in the mindset of someone who thinks that all of their friends are dead and they're drunk. So it's really this balance of would Anzu go all out or would he be kind of sloppy because he's drunk? So what I was going to do is I was going to ramp it up bit by bit. So I forgot what I think the first one was polymorph, right? And then the second one was Wall of Force, and then we had telekinesis, and I was going to slowly ramp it up from there.
You used a really high-level magic missile.
yeah, I used magic missile too. Because I think for the first 2, everyone didn't really care. They just kind of laughed, and, Animus played it up as a performance.
It was funny.
Well, if they hadn't stopped me there, I was going to use Anzu's avatar and a fireball and all this other crazy stuff if they didn't stop me because, that's what I got to do. So that would have been interesting if they didn't do anything. Also, I think it was Caleb who gave me a 10 out of 10 for performance. Huh.
I did.
I also think Jacob's kind of storytelling of it was really good.
Yeah, it's hard to tell if it's actually going to be, hopefully it's not actually the future.
It shouldn't be. I think it's supposed to coordinate with what you've experienced and what you've been told our future's going towards. That would be like what kind of hit your mind first was like imminent destruction on a demonic level, which is the current path we're on. So realistically, you could have seen a nightmarish future that could be a possibility, but it doesn't let you actually see... you don't really know the actual future because it can always change, so...
Jacob knows the future, and that's about it.
Kind of, because he doesn't know what we're going to do.
It's
So
interesting though because Jacob is getting to the point where he isn't afraid to kill us. He will do it if we let him or if we don't watch out for each other. So I'm interested to see where he takes that. And it's also kind of interesting seeing all the relationships grow within the party.
hmm I think it's getting to a good point. We've been talking about that the past couple of weeks with different people who've been on. But like, this. I mean, it's not even just like chapter two. Like we've been building up our ability to role play and our ability to get into the mindset of our characters. And we're finally at a point. We talked with Corey about it last week. Like where like he's really starting to enjoy his storyline with Lochnar, and so we're getting to a point where like all of our characters now have like major storylines that us as players get into every single episode, whether the episode's gonna have anything to do with us or have absolutely nothing to do with us. Like it's still fun to be part of other people's experiences, and just like be like building or destroying relationships depending on who you are in the group. So Zach, what is the next talking point for us?
I think we should talk a little bit more about kind of telling Rebecca about all of the shit that went down in the last few weeks.
Man,
That's kind of interesting because I'm not. I think this is our first time actually having a very long discussion with Rebecca, kind of figuring out who she is and what she's like. I think as far as me personally, I'm not too sure how I feel. I mean, obviously she's good, but it's hard to say. I think Angie almost sees her as a zealot. Like it's either her way and her God's way or the highway. For example, she demands that we bring the kid,
yeah,
and at the same time, it's like that's cool and all, but this kid, you don't understand the power he has. He can apparently wipe out a lot of people with no problem, and she seems to kind of dismiss that. So I guess we're just kind of waiting to see on this next session if she's gonna actually see the limit of what he can do.
I don't know if it's gonna be her. I think she's just bringing us there to be like, this is the only plan I understand at this point, because like it's gonna be up to how big of a connection the Platinum Dragon actually has with the material plane, because many gods don't have a connection with the material plane. And the strongest connection the Platinum Dragon would have would be in the temple in Vasselheim. So if he is truly like the father of this child in some way, then maybe there is a way for him to kind of keep the abilities in check, or even maybe ascend this dragon out of the material plane, something like that. Like take it into the world of the gods where they are now and get it out of our world, because it's obviously a very unbalanced character that realistically it would be so hard for us to like if we make one bad mistake, that character could easily just destroy all of us if we just
Well, I'm more interested to see how Zygon's gonna have to I guess react to the worst case scenario, because think about it, worst case scenario, Rebecca or whoever's the high priestess there has an absolute demand to keep the kid, and they won't let him go, and they want all this other stuff that the kid obviously doesn't want. He's gonna have to pick a side, whether it's his wife or us. So that'll be pretty interesting to see. I'm kind of curious what he's gonna do.
That's actually a really good point. I didn't think of that. Like,
Oh, because anyone who has a girlfriend knows that not picking their side
it's a
can
bad
be
idea.
one of the worst. Yeah.
I mean, but right, like Zygon, like current Zygon is different from Zygon who married her, right?
Well,
Like,
I
Yeah,
mean,
but-
yes,
If you look at the relationship right now, though,
he still has that same like, I know she's my wife. I
she
want to.
shuts her up.
I want to.
Or she shuts him up.
Yeah.
yes.
I want to be with her. I want to understand what my past was whether he wants to actually keep the demonic power or go back to a more lawful, godly power, that's going to be up to him in the future. But like, he is slowly finding out what he needs to do to be free of this this whole like warlock thing, and being able to figure out like what he's done in his past. And then also, I mean, his daughter's a big part of this because she was the one who originally was brought the whole thing with the warlock becoming a warlock and stuff. So
Well, I'm more intrigued to see what happens when she finds out that he signed his soul away to a demon.
I think she knows that.
To a demon lord, though.
I think so. I think he's
Her reaction to the fact that we had the soul of a demon lord was pretty big.
well.
If
She knows,
found out.
She knows because they had a conversation about that. Because she knows we're both warlocks. So she
She knows you're warlocks, but she doesn't know you're.
I don't know if she knows to the full extent though.
Maybe not. Yeah, maybe I'm misremembering something.
I feel like because she's a member of the Platinum Dragon. It's.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also don't know. I don't fully understand how badly they treat people who are like warlocks in Vasselheim. So we'll see.
There's a lot of unknowns.
Yeah.
To I think everything, in my opinion, as a viewer, to everything about Rebecca, because like I mean, you guys don't truly know her motives, right? Like you don't have Zygon to be able to tell you like, okay, yeah, she is actually a good person.
Well,
because Zygon doesn't remember that, right?
If she's a paladin of the Platinum Dragon, she automatically has to be lawful good. So her
lawful good, lawful or chaotic good, to what they perceive as good.
Yes, but
which means if they think that
to whatever the Platinum Dragon would be.
But think about it this way: to them, you and Zygon are bad. You're just objectively bad because you are signed to Demon Lord. So if they know that, they gotta do something about it because it's their pact.
That kind of starts playing into the whole metagame thing. Like, you as Caleb and Hunter know, for the most part, right, Platinum Dragon, Paladin equals good. But as, Anzu and Animus...
that would be a pretty known fact. You would know that in-game, that they are the most, top, good, but at the same time, we're going to see
they're
them...
good, but,
we're going to see them as Hunter just explained, as, they are fully good to their god, but to us that is not the easiest thing to deal with because we aren't following the Platinum Dragon. That's not ultimately the number one good thing in the world for us. So we understand we can be we can trust them on a certain level of what they're gonna do, but what they're gonna do can easily come back and bite us because what we do is not something they can fully trust.
Right. And the reason I'm wary of it is because I think about the Catholic Church, right? So the Crusades, right? It's chaotic good for the Catholic Church.
True.
But for everyone in between that and Jerusalem, it's horrible. So that's how I see it is, they may be chaotic good.
One of the biggest
but chaotic good is still chaotic.
For us to realize, and this is something that I don't know if a lot of viewers know or just many people know overall, Vasselheim is the number one holy city in this world that we're in, and it holds multiple different religions, and not all of those religions are good religions. One of them is of the Raven Queen, who is the leader, the goddess of death, essentially. So, and then there's I think there's a neutral god of the dwarves in this city, and
Pelor's probably involved somewhere too.
There's a couple, and they're not all good. So what my thought is on that would be more towards they probably respect the boundaries that each religion has within this city. So maybe they'll be able to respect as long as we're not inherently dangerous to them, that our way is okay for now and allowed to just be let be for the most part. So that's what I'm hoping. That would be best case scenario for us. Nothing goes best case scenario though, so Uh,
Well, it's also Jacob we're talking about, so he's gonna throw a plot twist somewhere.
easily. Yeah.
At least 3 plot twists in there.
Yeah, I think by this point, Anzu would be pretty wary of anyone, especially because he likes Zygon, but he knows Zygon isn't good. And he also probably thinks that Animus is pretty near the level of Zygon in terms of how good they are.
Yeah. I don't really know where Animus is. It's not neutral, but it's not evil. I can tell you that.
Yeah. So I think he's kind of wary of the two of them, especially with the name Demon Boys. It'll be interesting to see how that pans out. But I think his relationship with everyone else has grown quite a bit. I think he's straying a little bit away from Lochnar, but I'm working on getting that back again.
I think something that I want to do, and I talked about this a few weeks ago when we were getting off the island. I've kind of like, and I also just mentioned this at the beginning of this episode, like the whole like Demon Boys thing, and like being Zygon's first mate, and like we're like throwing mushrooms around in a fucking bar. Like that's all fun. It's funny stuff, and it's really enjoyable. But I kind of want to get back to like a more traditional what I want Animus to be, which is like his character. I mean, as much as it's a meme, is a darker, like has a darker background, and his whole quest needs to be taken more seriously in my eyes as a player, because like I've kind of strayed into like just messing around, like the whole sandcastle bit, we're fucking around with this ghost dude on this demon barge going through the fucking air and all this stuff. So I definitely want to try to get more to a serious point in the coming episodes where like, I mean, something big that happened with us, Hunter, was like we 100. I don't want to say 100%, but we've pretty much figured out Valshinar is the warlock that enslaved me and thousands of other slaves in the Shadowfell. And instead of like sitting here and like just kind of like still messing around, like that should be something I bring up to you in some way, because you almost made contact with him, and that's something that Animus would never want, because he's been trying to hide from him for so many years before he can get back to Shadowfell. So
Well, the group dynamic is interesting too, and the way it's developing, because if you think about it right now, it's kind of split into 3 groups, right? You have Braun, Dia, and Anzu, who are very morally good. These are people who will help others, sometimes even more than that if they're able to. Then you have Zygon and Animus, who are objectively either bad or they're inadvertently causing bad reactions out of people. And then you have Lochnar, who's in the middle, who really just depends on the mood that you see him. He may be good to you, he may be bad to you. So it'll be interesting to see how that flows. But yeah, I think Animus and Anzu having a connection now will have an interesting development.
yeah, I think also me and Jacob actually had a conversation about that same thing. I think Lochnar is coming to a point where we're seeing his character almost like will become a very good character. He cares a lot for like certain people in the group. Like Thea's a big one right now. I think he cares a lot for a couple more relationships in the group than he's had before. And then also with Animus, like his understanding of what Zygon's current quest is on a similar-ish path as his own, so he sticks on that side, but at the same time, like I think Jacob said this last week, my character also, he's trying to help a large amount of people. He's trying to help large groups of people from these imminent things that are going to happen, which is Shadowfell. There's thousands of slaves that are constantly either being enslaved or getting killed and tortured, and whatever plans Valshinar / that warlock has planned for them, as well as understanding that the political dilemma in the world and the 5 that are watching us are not good people, and we need to get them the hell out. But yeah, the ways that Animus chooses to do that, sometimes is teetering between is it good or is it bad, because I did technically consider using another demon to fight another demon to fight another demon. So I'm very glad Theo was able to just grab that stone from me and Zygon, because that would have been so bad.
Well, it'll also be interesting if we get to see Vel again, because Vel, last time Anzu fought him, he was a level 20 wizard or warlock. Well, no, he was a wizard at the time. And I think, as far as Vel would know, Anzu is still a level 20 wizard. So it might be interesting to see how that pans out.
I don't think we're supposed to get there anytime soon. I don't think that's something we should try to get to anytime soon.
It'll be a while. It's been like a year and something of build up, but I'm interested to see how he reveals himself and if he even does.
The Shadowfell, like, he's not, for what I know as a slave to him, he's not leaving the Shadowfell anytime soon, because he prefers to work through the Shadowfell like a demon would out of like Fraz from the Abyss. He's not leaving the Abyss because he can't. He can make himself a secondary person on the plane, the material plane, but like ultimately, if you kill him on the material plane, he's still in the Abyss. So that's kind of what's happening with Valshnar / the Warlock. I don't want to 100% say, because it could be Valshnar working with the Warlock, because I've seen multiple hooded figures who are equally strong or more strong, who I've assumed to either be higher demons or other warlocks. So Valshnar could just be working with this guy.
Well, because last time Anzu saw him, he was going to the Shadowfell to learn darker magics.
Yeah.
And that was when he was trying to stop him.
Which is why we can assume now that he is the same person.
And I think a lot of backstories are probably going to come out too. Because I think everyone really only knows about half of Anzu's backstory.
I don't even think it's that. I think we also brought this up last week. I said I think the most we know about one person's backstory might be 40%.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that goes into every character because there's been years of development, and there's also years of making more backstory to someone's character.
Yeah. Like, not all of us knew. Like, we had the skeleton of what we wanted for a backstory at the time, and some of us had it fleshed out more than others, but we're now at a point where, like, you've had a year and a half to be like, hey, Jacob, like, just to let you know, remember that thing that happened with me when I was younger in that one city? Well, when that happened, this, and this happened, and my dad did this, or something like that. So,
well, because Jacob doesn't even know my whole backstory that I've gotten, which I guess I should probably tell him. But
he's not giving it away, so...
Well, I think he kind of likes being,
building
I guess, surprised sometimes, too.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know. I think knowing everything as a DM might be a little boring sometimes. So getting a nice little surprise might be cool. But anyway, yeah, we ranted off for a while.
Yeah. Well, Zach, do you have any other questions for us?
No, that's it for me.
Yeah, my only question was basically bringing up Valshnar and kind of like, we definitely need to get on the same, at least the same thought process, because I was...
What, like the backstory of him?
Not even the backstory, just
I can tell you Andrew's backstory of him.
No, I mean, yes, that'd be probably a good thing to talk about, but I think the main thing is, like, we need to figure out, I would need to update you on what I've seen, because you haven't seen him in however, like, 100 years or 50 years or whatever, however long it's been since Linares died.
Well, right, and the funny thing about that is, no one, and I was actually really interested that Thea never asked anything. No one actually knows the full story of what happened that night. They have a very vague idea, but no one has ever just straight up asked.
It's not my
place. I thought was interesting. Right.
I've never brought it up because that needs to be a Thea question, and I think she kind of is just, like, figuring things out at certain points where she's, like, not all the details need to be known until, like, a certain point, which is...
Well, because it was even funny because Anzu actually hinted at the fact that he knew Linares when she was a child.
Yeah.
I think it's one
he was also a child, by the way. I just want to put that in there. I know that must sound
Go-
really creepy.
Go ahead, Zach.
So-
We just need to get over the fact that
Well, no, I
Anzu's a pedo, so.
I think it's one of those where, like, I don't know if Thea really wants to know
Right.
everything that happened. So I think that's kind of something that she's just kind of, like, not actively avoiding, but kind of subconsciously just like, yeah, I'll just kind of
Yeah.
keep it over there, you know?
I think that's kind of like there's certain details you don't want to either talk about or and that's like one of the reasons that I would say we
Well,
don't.
it's the same thing with her mother, right? Like, we have a vague idea of what happened, but we don't actually know the whole,
Yeah.
like, every single detail.
Well, that's what I was going to bring up with the whole Valshinar thing. I mean, like, I've never brought up all the things that happened to me under him. I just told you guys I was cursed by him, and that's why I can talk as a Kinku, and that's why I'm here on the material plane, is because, like, I was able to get out of the Shadowfell. I've never brought up what he did, like, the things that he did to other people, what his, like, some of the plans that I would have heard when I was younger. Same thing with Anzu. He's never brought up Valshinar as Valshinar being, like, himself and like what his plans were as a wizard and why he was such an absolute douchebag and almost destroyed the college or whatever. So that's what I was gonna say. That's now a situation where certain details need to start coming into place for both of us, because on one hand you said you wanted to contact him, on another hand I think contacting him is the absolute worst idea ever, because he's either already knows where I am or has no idea where I am, and I'd rather not keep it at where I am right now and not.
But unfortunately
contact.
for all the viewers, that will be something that will be discussed after the stream when you're not watching.
Yeah, or during stream. Next time they see it on Sunday, which is where you guys should come back next time.
That's a spoiler.
We'll go ahead and end it there just to leave people on a cliffhanger. So.
Just a very muddy, small. clip.
Just also a heads up. Me and Hunter are not going to script what kind of talk is going to happen, but we are going to go into some sort of conversation after this just to talk about it a little bit.
Just to coordinate. Otherwise, it's a sloppy story.
None of us ever script anything. We never actually talk about I'm going to do this, and this, and then you should do this, and this. We've never done that. We usually just kind of have like general conversation like we do right now, and then whatever roleplay happens, and honestly almost 100% of the time is never what you expect to happen, like even if you talk about it off stream. So
actually spend way too much time doing something really weird.
Yeah. Like fucking have a rager and eating mushrooms. My god, it's so funny. Alright, well, we'll go ahead and leave you guys with that. Thanks Hunter for jumping on tonight. Thanks Zach for jumping on tonight. I never actually thank anyone for jumping on, but I feel like I should, because it's time out of their day. They could be doing whatever.
Kiss my feet.
I'm here so I don't get fined.
Yes.
Yeah, we told him he's going to be out of the group if he didn't do it.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
He's never allowed to play with us again. So
Remember that, Zach.
I will. Trust me, I will.
thank you guys for watching. Check us out next week on the weekly recap. If you are not able to make it on Sunday where we do our normal streams, or if you just don't really want to watch a 3-hour stream or don't have time to do it, that's fine. We are not sitting here getting mad at you, but fuck you for not watching us. Thanks.
I'm getting mad at you.
Yeah, Zach's, once again, he's kicked out if he doesn't get mad at you.
That's fair.
Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys next time.